Show and our special program, The Age of Wellness, a program that we broadcast the second Thursday of every month. Here we take a close look at the mind, body, and spirit, what I like to call the wellness trifecta. Our sponsor is the Health Channel. Let me share with you who the two guests are for today's program, two very dear friends of mine. Number one, Dr. Jason Wolfe, MD, from the Kendall Urology Center and Associates. And my second guest is Portia Lang-Diaz, Mom-preneur of Belly Motions, Inc. A little bit about my first guest. Dr. Jason Wolfe is a urology specialist in Miami, Florida. He has more experience with urinary conditions and male productive disorders and procedures than other specialists in this entire area. He has now become one of my best friends, and after you hear this conversation, you're going to know why. So let's tune into that. Okay, with me now on The Age of Wellness is Dr. Jason Wolfe. Doctor, how's it going today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing terrific, and that is a gross understatement when I say that I'm doing terrific. As a lot of the viewers know, and I've shared the news with them, that I went through this experience of prostate cancer this summer, and you were the guy that broke the news to me back in May. It had to be said, it had to be dealt with, and we moved forward with a lot of hope, anticipation, and faith. And doctor, you got the job done, and I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart what you have done. And literally, if I take a look back, it is one of those defining moments in my life, actually my life being saved when you look at it. So I cannot, and by the way, on behalf of my family, friends, they thank you for the work that you did.
Well, I appreciate that. It obviously takes a lot of support structure to get through something like that, too.
It really does. And to say that you're a busy guy it's another big understatement. You're quite focused. You've got a very disciplined practice, as I have been able to witness up front myself. Tell us a little bit about that, a little bit about your background, how it all got started, and how you ended up with this great group at Kendall Regional, / HCA.
So I grew up actually in upstate New York. And actually, both of my parents are doctors, not surgeons, internal medicine. So I guess they're kind of the dinner table conversations kind of led me towards the world of medicine. And they both enjoyed what they do, which I think is really helpful because I think most people, when they look for a job or when they think about their future, what draws them to it, you really need to enjoy what you're doing, or else it's going to be the end of your career. I mean, you can't really survive in a job where you don't really like what you're doing. After undergraduate at Colgate University and then medical school at SUNY Downstate, which was in Brooklyn, I continued my urology training in Brooklyn as well, at Brookdale Hospital. How I got into urology, it's a pretty small field. When I was applying for it, there was only about 250 positions a year. So only about 250 urologists were being made every year in the United States. That's increased now. I want to say there's only about low 300s every year. But that kind of points to the fact why most urologists are busy is there are not a lot of us. And the ones that are retiring are probably not being replaced fast enough. So after training, I looked for an additional training year to kind of improve my oncologic skills. And I actually did a 1-year fellowship in urological oncology at Cleveland Clinic here in South Florida. So that's what brought me down here. And me and my wife, we both liked living down here a lot. But as far as a permanent job, it kind of fell through the cracks when it was supposed to be time to find that job. So we actually moved back to New York, believe it or not. And we were there for a few months, and we both looked at each other and go, what are we doing here? This is crazy. And we came back down when this job was open at the time, and it's been a little over 5 years here now at Kendall Regional Medical Center with HCA. And it was basically building a practice from scratch because there had been some previous urologists or doctors at this hospital, but there was almost nobody at the time that I came. So, and there was office equipment, but there was really no practice. So it was really building something from nothing, which in the end, I guess some of my background and experience helped grow that, where a lot of people probably would have thrown in the towel and say, you know what, this isn't really worth the sweat I'm going to have to put into this to make it a real practice.
I'm telling you, I've gone there several times. Obviously, different appointments and follow-ups. It's a machine. I mean, you've got patients coming in, and everything is calculated, and it's impressive to see that operation going. And I mean, no pun intended.
Right.
But it's very impressive, and the service from the front desk to the assistants and everybody is really on top of their game. And it just provides someone like me and so many others, men that are going through this issue, a sense of well-being in terms of they're taking care of me, they know what they're doing, and I can feel confident
Right.
moving forward in a very, very difficult time for anyone. Speaking of prostate cancer, which I had my surgery back on the 7th of July, the day that I like to say that I was reborn again. Now that I didn't know this about the limited number of urologists in the United States and here in South Florida, where are things at right now with prostate cancer? I mean, is this something that are there more cases than ever? Is it something that's being controlled better than the past? Can you give us an update on that?
So in the 80s or 90s is when prostate cancer started to rapidly increase the amount of cases that were being found. And most of that's because of the discovery of using PSA testing to find these prostate cancers at an earlier stage. Before that, people would typically show up with symptoms. And at that point, it's almost too late to cure somebody from prostate cancer.
Yeah.
So the testing has actually brought a lot more prostate cancer prevalence and incidence in the United States and the world. Mm-hmm. It is a very common disease, and probably the second most common cancer that's found in men in the United States. Fortunately, most people can be cured from their prostate cancer when it's found, and some of that has to do with the fact that we are finding these things earlier.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's very rare to have symptoms actually in the early stages. So most men, when they come to me, they say, I feel great. What do you mean I have to go do this blood test? I have to get an exam. I have to be checked. I say, there's some things that we found that don't look normal for someone your age. And we really should, discover this and look a little bit deeper, because there is some risks there. And most people understand that. Sometimes they say, but I feel great. And, that's okay. I mean, it's hard to change some people's mind. It's like having a car that you either get your oil changed regularly or you wait till it to break down and then you take it into the shop.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely.
At that point, it may be too late.
I mean, then it's definitely, what they say, pay me now or pay me later. And then this time you're paying with your life, potentially. Right. I know that I had another diagnosis before that actually, I call everything that's happened to me a blessing in disguise, because something else had come up. I had something come up called polymyalgia rheumatica, which was, an arthritic thing. And I'm taking a little bit of prednisone for that. But within all of that, Dr. Molinares, who we both know, said, listen, I think maybe you should check your PSA, get that part. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, correct me here, my high should have been a 4, but I was basically double. I was 7.9 in January. I went to see you sometime in March, and you gave me an option, either, do a biopsy now or get some additional blood work to see if it changes. And then you told me point blank, it has to come down, and it has to come down significantly. It can't go down to like 7 or 6.5. I went and again went back in May. I went up to a 12. So at that point, there was no more discussion left. we had to do the biopsy, and then everything was discovered, and it was, the way you had put it, a category 3. If I would have waited another few months, that could have been a whole different story there.
Yeah, I mean, the fortunate thing is that typically prostate cancer is a slow growing disease, and waiting a few weeks or a month or two here or there doesn't really change anything in the clinical course significantly,
Right.
which is nice that it gives us some options to decide, should we intervene? Should we wait a little bit of time? Because there are some reasons why that PSA test that I talked about can bounce around a little bit or ride a little bit of a roller coaster until it settles. As far as who should be getting tested, that's one of these discussions that all the different cancer societies or the American Urologic Society have different understandings of who, because in the past there was the U.S. Preventative Task Force, who is the oversight body to recommend, colonoscopies, breast cancer screening, prostate cancer screening. They actually gave it an X in the past, which they recommended against screening. And then some more information came out a few years ago. And what that basically said is you should have a discussion with your doctor. And the typical patients that we're looking for of who to get screened are age 55 to 69. The current recommendations for people that are without increased risk, meaning no family member that has prostate cancer, and being done at least every other year now. And the reason why is that we know that there are a lot of clinically insignificant prostate cancer. There are a lot of patients or people that are going to have these little bumps in PSA, and you really don't need to find these. We're really looking for the people that have a higher risk of finding prostate cancer, because we don't really want to go out and biopsy everybody. That's not the point. The biopsy is not a comfortable procedure, and the better option is finding those people that really need to be investigated further.
I have a friend of mine, when I was doing my research after you and I met, I think it was towards the end of May, and I had to look at different options and looking at radiation or surgery. And I had one friend in particular who was diagnosed with prostate cancer when he was 48 and wasn't as advanced as mine, but made the decision to remove his prostate then. He just turned 66 recently. So it's 18 years later, give or take. And, it's I think it kind of ran in the family a little bit. So he was more in tune to get himself checked out. But my oldest brother, as I had mentioned to you, when I went in there, had prostate cancer 11 years ago, went radiation. Thank God so far he's good. But everybody's situation is different, and you got to make the decisions on what you're going to do based on your own conclusions and what you want to hope to accomplish. At the end of the day, we want to get rid of this, but what's the best way to do it,
Well, that's the thing, is prostate cancer, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. And it's picking your poison, because a lot of times the prostate cancer itself, people feel great. They come in, you said, I feel great, I have no problems, and that's how most people are when they come in with prostate cancer. And the treatment often will have side effects. And it's a little bit picking your poison of what's important to you right now and also in the future, because there are certain treatment options that may make it more complicated, maybe not now, but maybe 5 to 10 years from now. And most of the patients that we're treating prostate cancer have 20 plus years to go in their life, as far as what we expect for life expectancy. And it's kind of helps. And that's an important discussion that you have with your doctor at the time, because what's important to you and what's important to me may be different things. And it may be very different than what's in the patient room next door. They may find something very different, very important to them. So it's a very personalized conversation about when we start talking about what are the options of therapy. And you're right. Usually the patients that are younger and healthier, we kind of feel that surgery is a slightly better option, because it does leave a few more doors open in the future should the cancer return.
Yeah, when you tell me you're still young, I go, great. Okay, that's the best news I've heard all day. Thank you very much. I heard that. I go, okay, let me go ahead, and my gut is telling me I got to go in that direction there. And but we got about a minute or so left. What message would you like to share with the guys that are watching this this segment right now, especially if they're in that age bracket that you just mentioned?
I think it's important to have that discussion with your doctor. Just make sure you're going for routine care for your prostate and for your overall health and well-being, because there's a lot of diseases, including things that will bother them, like erectile dysfunction, which may be the canary in the coal mine for other underlying diseases like heart disease or cholesterol and diabetes and blood pressure. So there's a lot of things that, do require routine maintenance that we don't always think of taking care of, because there's a lot of things. Time is short. We're all busy in our lives.
We really are. And I think I might have mentioned it to you in my first follow-up appointment. And I'm going to see you in a couple of days, by the way. This whole experience has motivated me. And I am in the middle of writing a book about this experience and what I feel I need to share with others from different aspects. And a lot of it is from a well-being, wellness perspective there that I feel I need to do. So, Dr. Wolfe, how can the viewers find out more, reach out to you, your office? What do they need to do?
Right. So my office is located next to Kendall Regional Medical Center. The phone number is 305-226-2020. The name of the practice is Kendall Urology Associates. Feel free to call or have your doctor get in touch with us and send your, lab work and information over to us. We're happy to see you and kind of discuss about men's health issues as it pertains to the prostate or other issues as well.
And I've got to tell everybody my personal experience with you. You were a straight shooter. You weren't overly dramatic. You weren't under dramatic. You just said what you had to say, and it's a reality check. It is what it is. So then, what do we do with that information moving forward?
Right. I mean, that's how I see my role is kind of, I have some knowledge in my head, and most patients have some knowledge, but not always medically based knowledge. And my job is to kind of sort it out, explain it, and put it into layman's terms to help make a decision of what is going to be the best, or what is really going on, and what do we need to do? Because, I can't sleep well at night if I feel like I haven't explained what's going on to the patient, really.
But I didn't sleep very well that night when you told me what I had cancer, but I got over it and I moved forward. But that's fine. That the alternative is really not where you want to be there. So thank you so much, Dr. Wolfe, for taking time.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I know firsthand that you are very, very busy, and I really, really appreciate that. And our viewers are going to really appreciate everything you've shared here today. So thank you so much, my friend, and God bless you, man. Just keep doing the great work you're doing.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Good.
All right.
Bye.
A big thank you to Dr. Wolfe for sharing that information with us today. And as I said before, I owe him so much. He took care of me a couple of months ago, and I really want to thank him. And now, my friends, a word from our sponsor, the Health Channel.
South Florida PBS's Health Channel brings you a new subscription plan that includes great services to take better care of your health anywhere and anytime. All Health Go gives you access to unlimited telehealth doctor consultations directly from your mobile device anytime you need it. The subscription plan also gives you access to other amazing services and great discounts. Subscribe now for as little as 55 cents a day and start enjoying the convenience of having the care you need whenever and wherever you need it. Visit gocare.tv.
Okay, everyone, a little bit about my second guest, Portia Lang-Diaz. She is an international belly dancer instructor, performer and choreographer, group exercise instructor, entrepreneur, mom-preneur. But most importantly, the mom of a brave little guy called Leo, who has an immense battle in his hands right now. Let's watch that conversation with Portia. All right, as promised, here with me right now is Portia Lang-Diaz. What's going on? How are you doing?
Good morning, Pete. Doing well. Happy to be with you and excited to be in front of the camera again because it's been a few months.
I can imagine. Hey, so much that we can talk about today, and we're not going to have enough time. And to your background, it's just absolutely fascinating, the things you've done, the experiences you've had, and we'll get to the one that's really putting a whole different light on life right now. But Portia, for the benefit of everyone, is a mompreneur. I mean, that's really. Let's start off with that. You know, she is a incredible entrepreneur for many, many, many years. However, her biggest role is of mom, and right now that is what Portia's focus is on being mom to a little guy named Leo who is battling a major, major challenge. So many that are watching now know you. You have a lot of great dear friends out there, mutual friends that we have. They know what you're going through, but for the benefit of those that maybe are not quite caught up on what's going on, tell us a little bit about your little guy Leo, what he's been going through, and how that's affecting you and the entire family.
Sure. So my little boy, Leo, who's 6 now, earlier this year in February, he was diagnosed with lymphoma. It was stage 1. So we went through 3 months of chemo and prednisone treatment. We were deemed, clear, no evidence of disease in June. And unfortunately, on his 6th birthday, we rediscovered that the cancer either had returned or was never gone in the first place. So we are now entering our 3rd cycle of chemotherapy, which will be now more aggressive. Since it didn't work the first time, we're treating him almost as a stage 4 patient. So he has Burkitt's lymphoma, which is a blood cancer, and it came out in the form of tumors in his neck. So he's had surgeries to remove those, and we are in the middle. We're in the middle of the battle. We've got about 4 months to go.
Now, I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, cancer hitting anyone at any age is a major challenge. It's rough. But to think about a little guy like that going through what he's going through, and the courage and the bravery that he's displayed, and I think that a lot of that has to do with you and your husband as well, supporting him and being, and I can never imagine what you guys are going through. So there's a lot of elements involved in all of this here. How's he doing in terms of his attitude, his because a little guy, little man is going to have a lot of energy. He's going to want to be out there and doing things and watching all his friends and all that. How's he going through all of that?
So, Pete, I'll tell you, when we first got the news, we weren't sure how to break the news to him. Would he understand what cancer is? Would he be able to comprehend the magnitude of this kind of diagnosis? And so we spoke to a lot of professionals, and they said, really, it's the perfect age to kind of get this kind of information, because he couldn't really understand, the impact that it would have. Little kids at that age, cognitively, they live day by day. They're not really sure what next week means or next year.
Yep.
So in a way, we were blessed with that. And we decided to create like a superhero character for him. So we created an Instagram and Facebook account, Leo the Lymphoma Fighter. And we kind of told him, look, you have cancer. It's called lymphoma and it's evil. And you're going to be a superhero and you're going to fight it. You're going to have to take medicine. You're going to have to go to the hospital. But ultimately, you're going to kick its butt. So we kind of gave that label to him so that he could feel empowered and have something to focus on. And along with that, we had such a supportive community that really showed up. Car parades, fundraisers, Leo t-shirts, you name it. And it kind of gave him a sense of self and an identity to kind of go with during this whole process. So, as parents, we were like, how can we make this comprehensible to him? And how can we make it manageable and doable for all of us? So I think it's really helped him. And we're still fighting, man. We're just fighting every day.
You just said something that is right on point, because when you're a child at that age, 4, 5, 6 years old, whatever that might be, their world, the way they think, the way they look at things is completely different than you and I. We've gone through the years and we've had experiences at all different levels of life, good, bad, indifferent. And so we've established a mindset, and we're a product of all of that. Our minds are a product of all those experiences,
Correct.
wherever you're at today in life. And so for someone that's older, they get into their heads a lot. We all get into our heads and start creating scenarios that sometimes don't need to be there. And so I don't know if you can ever call getting cancer at any age a perfect age, but I can see what that all means, because he just kind of goes with and he follows your lead and your example, and then he kind of reacts in response to that.
Correct.
And
Yeah, and cancer, what cancer's taught me is, one, we need more research, we need more awareness, but also cancer showed me the beauty of humanity, and the beauty of community, and the power of faith. And it's brought me closer to my faith. It's brought me closer to my church community. Friends that I haven't seen or heard of for years are coming out. It's really helped people to bring out good in people. So if we can put a positive spin on it, it really does teach you to live in the moment and really be grateful, and also to ask for help and accept help, and ask for love and not be afraid to get love. Hug your friend that you really have been dying to hug. Call that person that you haven't called in a while, because life is short. When you see a little boy fighting, and we don't know, statistically what our odds are, it's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow.
it really is.
So if anything, there's something to learn from this for all of us. And I hope that Leo's suffering and our family's experience can at least give a little example of, look, let's just be nice today. Let's pay it forward. Let's count our blessings. It's not so bad,
It's a blessing in disguise, a thing that happens that does bring people together. I know that just recently you were part and you were honored at the Live Like Bella gala. Good friend of mine, Raymond Rodriguez Torres, the dad of Bella, was on my program about 4 months ago, and had a great conversation, and he did really the talking, because there's nothing I could say. I mean,
he's an amazing speaker. When he talks, lead. I'm like, I don't want to talk after Raymond, please. Please don't let me go after Raymond.
But that's an example of community. Yeah. And how was that experience? Because it's got to be bittersweet to be recognized and showcased in an event like that. But how was that? What did that mean for the family?
I tell you, Bella's Ball, which is hosted annually by Live Like Bella, it's a fundraiser, a charity. It's an awareness for childhood cancer. And Leo received the Live Like Bella Award for bravery and courage during his battle. And so our family was brought, and he was brought on stage and honored. And it was so meaningful, because I think it will not only be a memory that stands in his mind, but I think it's going to pave the way for him and my daughter as to what they're going to do with their lives, how this meaningful moment has impacted their view of the world. It was just such a special event. Live Like Bella has been our saving grace. Raymond, the whole family, the whole organization. We're so grateful. And it really turns something negative into something positive. Getting an award for having to go through all that pain, it gives it a meaning, and I really think Leo understood that. He got it. He got it.
And I'm sure that moment must have been incredibly touching for everybody, and I think everybody got it, or must have gotten it, and walked out of there a little bit more fulfilled than when they walked through the doors at the beginning of the evening there. Portia, all of this, obviously, you have an incredible background as an entrepreneur, with Belly Motions and the things you've done through the years, and how you've had to shift, like all of us, through COVID, and now, take all that online and go digital. What this whole experience with Leo and the family, how can you take that experience and now apply it to being an entrepreneur and your business, and maybe change things up as a result of all of that?
So one thing, Pete, that I'm going to do is, obviously, now that I'm in this world of childhood cancer, it's a role that I will always carry with me. I'll definitely be using my services and my networks and my audience just to bring awareness. I'm even going to raise some funds as the year progresses and next year as things normalize a little bit more for us, and also with the pandemic. So bringing awareness, raising funds, using my platform as a way to inspire others and to support other children and families in the same situation. And also, to be honest, it's gotten me to think about my schedule moving forward once we are done with treatment. This is the first time I haven't worked in 20 years. So when I get back to work, I'm going to have a structure and a schedule that works for me and the clients, but also for my family, because I've realized how precious it is and how quick these kids grow up, and I don't want to miss too many moments. And prior to the cancer and the pandemic, I was working like a crazy person. I was running the rat race. I was scatterbrained all over. I was managing, but it was a lot. It was a lot of stress. So if anything, this has helped me to redefine what I view as success and how I'm going to achieve that success. So working smarter, not harder, planning my work and working my plan instead of shooting from the hip and just going, go, go, go.
No, it's amazing. As you know, well, I went through my little challenges last summer, and it has changed my perspective. And I feel so fortunate on the results of what happened to this day. And I'm looking at things a little different, and I am applying all of that to my life, my relationships, my business. And I'm writing a book on this experience that I'm going through. But I know that you have been and are currently also writing a book. Now, I'm sure that's kind of been put on the sidelines for now, but I'm sure you're going to get back to continuing that project. Can you tell us a little bit about us without giving away everything yet, but just kind of a sneak preview?
Oh, so I am writing a book. I'm writing a memoir on my upbringing and some interesting stories and experiences that I've had. And I'm going to tie it into my belly dance career as well. And originally, Leo's story wasn't even a chapter because Leo didn't have cancer. I'm not sure if that will be in the book, but right now I'm in the free writing stage, and I'm just writing away. And it's been therapeutic for me. To tell my story, and I'm looking forward to finishing it and getting this under wraps and getting it out there probably in about a year or so.
Well, you and I are gonna definitely follow up on this conversation, and we'll get updates and with good news all the way around, and especially with the little guy, and then bring you on as a best-selling author.
I would love that.
Yeah,
let's do it, Pete.
We'll make it happen there. Any final thoughts before we close it out?
I just want to say God bless you, Pete, and thanks for taking the time to interview me and for focusing on Leo and such an important topic. We could have talked about anything. We could have talked about entrepreneurship. We could have talked about belly motions and business and all of that. And you chose this, and that really means a lot to me. So thank you for sharing our story, for Leo's story, and for getting the awareness out there for childhood cancer.
Well, it's the way I look at it, it has to be talked about, and because the more we can do it, the more we can look at the solutions as opposed to the challenges, and I think that makes everything a little bit. It lightens the load just a little bit, and it brings awareness out as you just shared right now. So I want to thank you for being with us on this program. Again, part of the Age of Wellness and part of one of my marching orders from everything I went through. And I'm so glad that you're part of this, and give my love to the family, and big high five to the little guy. Just keep doing what he's doing, because he's creating his his own presence and a great example to all of us here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it so much. God bless you.
Same to you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
A big thanks to Portia for the story that she shared with us regarding little Leo. And I'm going to ask everyone here to keep praying for his well-being and that he will win this battle and that we can all stand up and clap for him once that happens. I want to thank you for being with us today. I really appreciate you tuning in. We do this for you. And in this particular show here, it is really, truly for your well-being. And we're going to do this on a monthly basis and bring in experts and inspiring speakers to help all of us to live the best life that we possibly can. I'd like for you to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and if you got a moment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pete Delatorre, and listen to this program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and TuneIn Radio. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.